What happens for us into the weekend, because Saturday there's a large area at risk here, but the atmosphere changes a little bit come Saturday.
Yeah, it looks like things are really coming together on Saturday for what could be a severe weather outbreak. So this is all modes of severe weather, both winds, damaging winds, tornadoes, as well as, again, some potentially very large hail. We've been seeing a lot of hail this year, and unfortunately looking like that's still going to be in the picture. All
right, can we take a look at the low level moisture? We're talking dew points now. We've got some high numbers here. These are pretty alarming numbers, because normally we're thinking, 65 or so is a threshold for severe weather. We're well above that.
We are no shortage of humidity in this area, and this is going to help contribute to that low-level instability. And it's the instability that's really off the charts with this system coming in. So this is the convective available potential energy. So that's our measure of instability in the atmosphere. And Mike, look at this. Extreme values here, right down from Dallas, even to the southern part of Texas, but into Oklahoma City. A lot of these areas have already been hit this year, and it's looking like, again, we could see some explosive development in that region.
These are not areas that are immune to severe weather by any means, and this is a peak time of the year, but it's a Saturday. It's a holiday. A lot of people want to be outside. They want to be at the pool. They want to be at the lake. They want to have a cookout. They have to pay attention to the weather Saturday.
Absolutely. This is not a situation you want to be sleeping on. This is exactly the type of situation we want you to be alert. And again, it's looking like all these ingredients are coming together. Now, the upper level support for this doesn't look really significant, but we do have strong winds in place, so we will see a little bit of directional shear. That's that rotation in the atmosphere to help fuel that severe threat. It's not looking like, again, we have a huge trigger, but again, still in place. So we want you to be alert. We are expecting severe weather. This is going to include winds, again, very large hail, some bowing segments. Extreme instability is possible. And again, this includes all hazards. Tornadoes are still a potential. All
right, so the takeaway here ultimately is watch for every threat, but tornadoes, we've got torcons as high as 5 already.
Yes, be on the alert for all modes of severe weather. That's what we want you to be prepared for this weekend.
All right, Dr. Navarro, thanks for breaking it down for us. It's going to be an active weekend,
right? And know where
especially
you
Saturday.
Are. You know, if you're visiting friends and family, make sure you just ask them, hey, what county are we in? Should you find yourself away from them? We've got much more still to come. Going to be a problem. Mike and Dr. Navarro, we've got plenty of advisories.
Yeah, we do. You know, coastal flooding could become a problem for us here, but you say it's not just one thing. It's a couple of things that are in play here.
It's almost as if all of the ingredients are coming to play at once to create a bit of an event, which unfortunately it's already a soggy weekend, but now we're talking flooding on top of it. And this isn't just a little bit. Some of this might be significant. So we not only have high tide coming in at night, we have the changing moon phase, so we're going into new moon, which affects how the tides form and play out. But we also have persistent onshore flow, which is going to help fuel that threat. So with that in place, there are many coastal flood warnings and advisories in place across the Mid-Atlantic, all along the Jersey Shore, up here even into Massachusetts and Maine. With this low pressure system that is exiting off the coast, this is really going to ramp up those winds. And again, we have onshore flow, so that's moving from the ocean onto the land, and that's going to help push all of that water onto the land.
And I feel like, even a place like, I'm a little bit surprised that coastal Maine has flood advisories, because it's a pretty high coast. It's pretty rocky there. It's different than a place like Cape Cod.
Yeah. But with this system and those persistent winds, that's enough. I mean, again, this is going to be on top of high tide, so that water level is already higher. So maybe in a normal situation that wouldn't be the case. But with all of these factors coming into play, this is going to be a bit of a significant event. And Mike, look at this wind fetch.
Right.
Persistent.
I guess that's why it makes sense in places like coastal New Hampshire and in Maine.
Right. So look, even here up into Bar Harbor in Maine, this is almost nearly 20-mile-per-hour winds coming onto the coast, and this is direct east-northeast. And it's going to persist through Friday night into the early hours of the morning. So this is tonight into tomorrow. So we do have those winds in place.
They start to back off a little bit. If you especially notice down here through the Delmarva and off the Jersey Shore, it becomes more of an offshore wind now by Friday. So the conditions will improve tomorrow.
That's right.
All right, Dr. Navarro. Thank you.
Mike and Dr. Navarro, all of our ingredients seem to be coming into play, not just for, say, a tornado outbreak, but really a severe weather outbreak, because all modes will be possible: the hail, the damaging winds, and the tornadoes.
Yeah, this is one of those weekends we want folks to be aware, because, maybe you're thinking, oh, the tornado potential isn't high, so I'm not going to take this seriously. But that is definitely not what we want you to be thinking moving into this weekend. There is definitely going to be a lot of weather in play, and this covers a lot of real estate all the way east from Cincinnati through St. Louis down into Oklahoma City and Texas. Again, Michigan, I-35 corridor in play. A lot of these places that typically see severe weather at this time of the year, but we have very strong ingredients, especially down at the surface. Taking a look here at the dew points, you know, getting up into the 60s, it gets muggy. You know,
right.
It's sticky.
70 is just tropical. 78. You wear a whole stick of deodorant that day, and I don't think it does you any good.
No,
You're just perpetually walking around spraying yourself or changing clothes every 10 seconds.
Pretty much. That is downright uncomfortable. However, when it comes to severe weather, that really contributes to some extreme instability. And it's not just that. The timing of these storms are going to be in the afternoon, and that daytime heating can often help really pump things up and get things fueled. So with those two things in play, that is helping to contribute to some very large instability all the way from central to eastern Texas up into Oklahoma, a little bit further east into Arkansas and Louisiana. But again, that high potential still, again, that's still significant.
Those air parcels rapidly lifting up, and you get that shower thunderstorm development, and you can really get some very active thunderstorms going.
Yes, active thunderstorms for sure, but also the potential for some very large hail. You know, so with these instabilities in place, a lot of cold air with the system coming in, definitely could be seeing some very high numbers as far as the hail as well. But the other ingredient that we're looking at is the wind shear. And now we do have some appreciable high-level wind shear, and this helps give that rotation to these storms to give them that severe threat. So that those are those beautiful rotating supercells that you often see, but they also have the potential to produce some tornadoes. So that is what we want you to be looking out for. Now, the low-level tornado potential doesn't look super high, but it is still a possibility for this weekend, so be on the lookout for that. But a severe weather outbreak is likely, so that includes very strong damaging winds and hail as well.
All right, we've got a lot to watch for, not just the tornadoes. We talk about the tornadoes being obviously the thing that really makes people stop in their tracks, but hail, damaging winds, as we've seen, can cause big issues. Look, Denver area had over $1 billion
Absolutely.
in damage.
It's definitely a threat that you need to be alert for.
All right, Dr. Navarro, thank you so much. Coming up next, Mike, nearly 250,000 acres burned already, with over 248,000.
It's a dire situation there, but there may be which is not a good situation for the fires there. So tropical season, we're keeping our fingers crossed that may bring us some rain. We know what comes with that, but we need it.
But it tells you how bad the season's been when you're saying, you know, we really need something tropical.
You know, you take a look at the. By the way, GOES 16 is going to replace GOES East. So a satellite that was launched 11 years ago will now be replaced eventually by GOES 16, and this will watch the Atlantic Basin. Dr. Nab, you've got to be pretty excited the new tools at your disposal now.
Well, I've been biased for a long time towards making sure the best satellites are right over where all the hurricanes are forming. But, you know, we all have kind of a love-hate relationship with hurricanes. You know, we hate the impacts that they cause, but are we going to love the GOES 16 high-frequency animations of the outflow out of a major hurricane? You talk about cirrus clouds that make you miss a beat. Man, that's going to be something to see. And the small swirls inside of an eye wall. I mean, we're going to really see a hurricane breathing and living like we've never had before.
I'm going to be wiping the drool off of everybody's faces. All the computer screens are going to be covered with it. You know, we talked to each of our experts. You know, we talked to Tom Nizzle about the winter weather forecasting. We talked to Dr. Forbes about the severe weather. What are you, as a hurricane forecaster, most excited about, besides the things you just mentioned? Is this going to help you in forecasting or make your life easier?
Well, I'm going to want to set the alarm to get up to see the first visible images of the day, because with that frequent of an update, you know, overnight, without the visible, it's hard to tell sometimes when a system's trying to get its act together, if a center is forming, if a plane needs to be sent out, and getting a lot of images right off the bat with the first light of the day will really get us off to a good start each day on how the forecasting might evolve, how the aircraft missions might play out.
The visible satellite is stunning. It's a thing that we've all oohed and awed about, but this satellite literally does dozens of different things. Is there any other thing that the GOES 16 does that you're excited about?
Yes, we've talked about more frequent images, we've talked about the higher resolution, but more channels. This is like upgrading your package in a big way, and now you're going to be binge watching all kinds of different ways to look at hurricanes and other weather systems. And over the last several years, the forecasters at the Hurricane Center have been testing new algorithms that utilize all these different channels, new ways of looking not just at the hurricane, but at the environment and what aerosols, what dry air are out there that could impact the environment which the hurricane's moving, to help intensity forecast, help our rapid intensification index. Lots of ways this data is going to be utilized.
It's huge.
You're salivating.
All right. Sorry.
It's your first day. It's unbecoming.
I'm ashamed. I'll try to improve.
Hey, well, we've been asking for your questions at home for Dr. Knapp. Brandon, let's get to one.
All right, Travis asks, as a Central Georgia resident, what conditions would it take for us to have hurricane force winds?
Well, you don't have to envision this kind of scenario happening. Hurricane Hugo brought hurricane force winds to Charlotte, North Carolina, a fast-moving Category 4 hurricane at landfall. They don't just disappear off the map when they come ashore. So you have something a little farther south. What he just asked about could actually happen to you. You have a hurricane problem not just at the coast, but inland as well.
Dr. Knapp, it's great to have you here.
Fantastic to be here. You guys are a lot of fun. I think I'll come back.
Glad you're part of the team here on Weather Underground. And by the way, we answer questions every night here on the show. Use the hashtag WUTV on Twitter, and you can get your questions answered as well.
All right, well, for all of us here at Weather Underground, we thank you so much for watching.
Hey, we'll see you tomorrow night. Remember, together we know more.